Weather, a big concern here as it is so dry.
Yeah, way too dry. And what we're going to go through is the actual numbers that's going to take to overcome this drought. Because, of course, if you have dry conditions and then you have windy conditions, by the way, March and April are the windiest months in the Carolinas. So you have everything that's gathering up. You have now a growing drought. You have growing winds. Couple those together, and that's going to be ideal for any of that fire danger. So actually, let's pull up our drought monitor first. This is the most recent update that we have had from the U.S. Drought Monitor. And notice, close to 100% of South Carolina, at least under a dry to a drought status. So let me break this down for you a little bit more. Anything that you're seeing in yellow, that's called abnormally dry. That's technically the precursor to drought. Whenever you have that, the lawns are likely starting to turn a little brown. Some of the plants are starting to struggle. Once you get to the tan color, that's an official drought. That's also known as moderate drought. Now, 61% of North Carolina is under a moderate drought, 59.5% of South Carolina. So we can average that to around 60% of the Carolinas under an official drought at this point. Now, the growing concern is that we're going to see that bottom number start to grow for both North and South Carolina. That would be severe drought, and it's only around 1 to 3% for the time being, but I'm concerned about it. So what do we need to do? And the range of numbers I have is for the Charlotte area to the Western Carolinas, which it's dire situation. Here are the numbers that you need to know about. Over a 1 month span, that's where we need anywhere from about 9 to 11 inches. So this is actually a product. This is not me just guessing it. This is from the NCEI. So that's going to be the National Center for Environmental Information. And they're showing that for Charlotte, that's the lower number, we need 9 inches of rain over a month. Guess what? We don't need to do that. That's a bad idea because that means massive flooding, a lot of runoff, and you need 11 inches for the mountains. We know that that's an even worse idea for especially they just went through. Now, over a 3-month span, this is a little bit more realistic, seeing about a 15 to 19 inches of rain needed. Now, the problem is, this is the total amount of rain, but on average, we just need to meet the average. We usually have over 3 months anywhere from 11 to 13 inches of rain. So we need to exceed that, almost getting 150% of the usual rain over the next 3 months. But there's another product I have here. What's the percentage chance that that is going to happen? So this is actually called probability of ending drought conditions over 3 months. For our area, it's 8.43%. For the Western Carolinas, 6.7%. So we're thinking optimistically with these numbers that you're seeing here on the screen. But if you really talk about the chances on top of everything, because it's springtime, you also have all these plants that are sucking up all the water. So it's kind of that perfect trio of the windiest time, super dry, with plants starving for any sort of moisture that's just leading to these enhanced fire conditions.
I mean, so what are we looking like then in the next few days this weekend? Because we're at 0% containment.
Yeah, the winds are going to pick up. That's the bad thing. There's going to be some rain on Sunday and Monday, but oftentimes the winds pick up for that. So the rain is going to be helpful, but then after that, we dry out for several more days, and it gets windy yet again. So the rain always helps, but the problem is when it's too windy, because today in general, we're going to have wind gusts over 20 miles per hour, as much as 30 off towards the west, so not good. Saturday, same thing kind of goes. Now Sunday, the rain hopefully will help a little bit off towards the west, but yeah, it's a very small window that we have rain, so the next week will help a little bit, but in the long run, not so much.
Oh my goodness. Can you talk about, we've talked about fire systems and its own weather. Is it, what as far as winds go, we've talked about like West Coast and the Santa Ana winds. There's a different type of wildfire though, right? And so it actually presents its own challenges to EMS and folks there on the ground.
One thing that's uniform for all that, if it's too windy, they're not even going to try to put it out, because at that point they might try to surround the areas, kind of cut off where it can grow, but the wind is going to keep on fueling it. How many times have you had a campfire that if it's starting to go out, you blow into it and all of a sudden it's right back? And that's exactly what we have here. So the Santa Ana winds are a machine, so they're constant, but the problem that we also have in the mountains is the higher you go up, the less friction there is. So that means air is able to move a little bit more freely. That's why Grandfather Mountain will have wind gusts easily over 100 miles per hour any time of year, because there's nothing slowing it down. Meanwhile, here close to Charlotte, a little bit closer to sea level, you have buildings and a lot more trees that actually slow down the flow. So it's actually the mountains that are kind of the perfect storm on their own, that the winds are usually a little bit stronger. So many front pressure difference is going to create almost a Santa Ana type setup. It's just not as consistent and not as frequent as what we have for a Santa Ana wind.
I mean, this is like real troublesome, real worrisome.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just awful.
And you're already starting to see some burn bans. You're also seeing maybe some water bans that are going to be happening here. If we don't get some rain anytime soon, and yeah, you could have thunderstorms that give you a quick inch of rain, but it's those dry days that really add up, because you're averaging, you need at least 1/10 of an inch to even 1/1500th of an inch per day to keep up with the average, and we're not getting that.
Wow. I mean, you talked about the landslides, and if we get too much too soon, that's trouble, which, makes me think of what happened with Helene, all those landslides and flooding situations. You worked so hard when this, struck through the area of Western North Carolina last year. Do you remember your experience from covering landslides and all that?
I think my biggest thing about Helene is, and I don't know if Carlene here was in that meeting, is that on that Monday before this happened, I was really serious saying we need to go to Asheville. Like this is going to be bad. And the problem is, I was saying this is going to be worse than the flood of 1916. We don't know that. We don't know what that's like. So I was being really serious about that, but I don't think a lot of people in that room really knew. And I told Miles a day later, I was like, dude, this is going to be one of the more serious things that you're ever going to see. And he thanked me later saying, thanks for warning me, but you really don't know until you get there. That we're like, wow, we didn't expect it to be this bad. We did. We just never have lived anything like that before.
Wow. Incredible. Yeah. And so what can we learn from that? I mean, obviously, like you said, weren't there in 1916. Now that we saw it in 2024, and moving forward, as we're looking at another devastation to our Carolinas and our mountain areas, gosh, I mean, what's the takeaway here? We have to learn something.
I think whenever you have anyone in news or a meteorologist comparing it to a historic event, take it seriously, because I think the biggest thing in stigma is like, I know it, I go along with the jokes, flip a coin, that's a weather forecast, but there's a certain amount of point that there's an agreement that, wow, we're going to have 3 days of rain, wow, this could rival the worst flooding event in North Carolina history. Those are all things that were said, but they're not understood. So I think that any time that we have a reference when you're using words like worst, historic, take it seriously. But the problem is, in this case and scenario, everyone there could have heeded that warning. Maybe some people could have left, but sometimes Mother Nature, there's only so much you can do. The best thing is maybe you can evacuate, but up there,
where do you go?
Where do you go? Yeah, this was just the perfect storm of everything coming together. And even what happened in 1916 didn't stack up like this event did.
Incredible.
So, yeah. We lived history. And I hope that in our lifetime, we never live it again.
It doesn't repeat itself. All right. Chris Mulcahy providing some perspective on not only Helene, but the wildfires that are our current danger in the Carolinas.